Hey everybody, this is Adam Zundel from the Mountain East Conference, and welcome to this StatCrew tutorial video. In previous videos, we learned how to start a season, how to set up a game if you're the home team, and now we're going to learn what we need to do if we are not at the game in sending and importing files from opposing SIDs. Once again, feel free to follow along using your software, and thanks for watching. Okay, so we have a big soccer match on the road. We can't make it, so we need to send everything that we can to the opposing SID. One of those things is the StatCrew roster so that they can have the roster without having to retype it or do anything weird, and we get multiple rosters and funky names and things like that. So we got the email open here, and remember in the previous videos we talked about how important it is to remember the path of the videos, of the files that you save. So when we go to attach it, we need to remember that path. Okay, so if you remember, put a lot of the stuff in the C drive, and then because we're doing soccer, it's this folder. This is baseball, this is volleyball, this is basketball if you had football or other sports. These folders are all going to be here in the C drive. But since it's soccer, we go into this folder, and then we go to the directory year. If you have multiple seasons, you have 11, 12, 13, 14 instead of these folders here. That's how you know which current roster, which specific roster you are sending. So we click here and we find our team code. And remember, roster files are RO files, and so there it is. We're just going to select it and attach it. Waiting on the computer here to take the attachment, and that's it. And then when you email the other SID, you just ask politely to please have them send you the packed file, the XML and HTML files, and that should be all you need from them afterwards. So here we are, the game is over, and I have an email with the game file. I'm going to download it and save it. And again, as with all of these that we're importing and exporting, we need to be quite aware of where these are going. So I'm going to go to Save As. I'm going to place it specifically into a folder. I actually like to put a lot of my files on the C drive because they're easier to find. And it's an SPK file, so I'm going to hit Save. Now I asked for the XML and HTML file, but they didn't provide it, and that's okay because it'll provide us a good opportunity to create those files ourselves. So we go to Soccer, once again into the scoring function to find our utilities. Wait for that to boot up. And we're going to look for it in Utilities, so we hit U. We go to File Maintenance. And what we're going to be doing is going to be unpacking the file. And again, the pack file has all of the data from that game into one file. And so we need to take those files apart by unpacking it. So we hit Unpack, and this is where it's going to look for it. If this says something else, but you put it in the C drive, you need to type this right here. So C, and here is my file. This was the one I sent the other day, and this is the one that I am receiving today. So I'm going to unpack that file, hit Enter, and it's unpacked. We're not quite done yet because we have to actually technically, physically import the file. So we go to Import Game Files. It's going to look for it in the same place that was unpacked. And there it is. So we don't want to change the game file name because if any changes are made, we want consistency in that file name. Now let's just say, for example, somebody accidentally put me in as Charleston. Well, that's not what we want to go in. So my team code is MEC. So when I type that, it should take it. Now, it's very rare that we should need to change this. Hopefully, when you've sent a roster, they use that roster and for your team ID, and this should not change. So this is just an example of if somebody put MECW, and it was just supposed to be MEC, you take that off. Because anytime you add anything else, it's going to create an entirely different team. Now, of course, it'll have the same players and everything, but you'll have one team called MEC-W or M, and one team that's just called MEC. So it's very important that we have this team ID correct. So we go ahead and hit Enter. I'm just going to bring it in as Mountain East so that we can see it populate the box scores and the season stats. So it's just for an example. If you have any changes were made to the roster, here's the place to do it. As you see, there's a lot of changes here because I'm importing an entirely different roster because it was supposed to be Charleston and I changed it to MEC. So you won't see, hopefully, a lot of changes that need to be made. Complete the import, yes. Okay, so now the game is officially in our system. It's in the correct directory because we are working in this directory right here that we went over in a couple of the other videos. So now let's just go back and see. We need to generate that box score because we didn't get it. So we're going to go into soccer. Game reports. And we shouldn't have to do anything. It should be here. And here it is. That was the name of the file. This is our team, opposing team, and we can create the HTML box score. And we can create the XML file if we need to. And again, we need the XML file names to complete that action and submit to the conference and the NCAA. And the last thing, we're just going to make sure that our season stats look correct. So we'll once again go here, go to season reports, and we played one match the other day, and this is the other match, so we should have 2 games in here. We have the right team selected. So we're going to go to Team Stats, and there it is, 2 games. And that should be all you need to do if you are the opposing SID and receiving a packed file.